Giants go to Minnesota, knock off the Vikings 31-24. What a fantastic game.
Loved this football game. This game was awesome.
Game.
Yeah.
I just nothing but good feelings like the whole time on both sides of the ball. We'll dig into the nitty gritty and the minutia of it here in a bit, but I think my first takeaway is just a really kind of a culminating achievement for what the Giants season was with this coaching staff and this group of personnel. I think that this was a real statement for people that maybe didn't watch the Giants all year about what their offense looked like under Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka with Daniel Jones playing quarterback. I think this is an incredible moment for Daniel Jones to play the way that he did today. Yep. And just a reminder that even though this team was the 7th seed in the NFC or the 6th seed in the NFC, even though this team was a 9-7-1 team, they weren't supposed to be very good before the season. It wasn't a just happy to be their team. Like they absolutely could give somebody a run for their money in the wild card round based on the way that their offense specifically was playing and based on how healthy they were getting on defense. And that's exactly what happened today.
I love how you said too, is that those who didn't watch the Giants this year, this was a great, kind of culmination of what they have done, especially on offense. And it's hilarious because that's what the offensive game plan today was. Saquon Barkley early and often passing, catching the ball and getting the handoff. Some Hodgins, some random receiver doing some good things, and Daniel Jones using his legs and being super efficient. That's been their plan all year. And
the makeup was a little bit different. They ran the ball like 50 times a game at the beginning of the season. They came out slinging it today, but the usage of personnel, Isaiah Hodgins being a random receiver, and then what Daniel Jones was doing with his legs, that absolutely was a through line through the entire year. Plus some of the designs.
And the designs, exactly. Well, and they made a point of it, and they said on the broadcast was they're really good in third down and red zone. They maximize their chances. That's what this team has done. They talk about just like every chance they get, they maximize it. Every game plan they've had so far, even though we make these jokes about what it is, it makes sense. You know who was very bad at defending scrambles? The Vikings. So Daniel Jones, you can tell it was in his head. Oh, I was so glad when it just right away he was running around. I was like, oh, there it is.
The first drive. I mean, immediately in the first quarter.
And you could tell it was part of the game plan because anytime he confirmed he got man coverage, he scrambled. He just went one, done, gone. And so that meant throughout the week, they're like, hey, look for it. It was not you could just tell in rhythm how guys are in rhythm. It wasn't the scatterbrain, look left and right, and then scramble. It was, one's done. Oh, they're in man, gone. And he had 6 scrambles or 6 scrambles today, 6 successful plays, 4 first downs. That's a really good scrambling day. And on top of it, how they use Saquon, especially as a pass catcher, I loved. Again, this is just designed. I use the term brutally efficient by the Cowboys and just how they play, how Dak plays and how their run game is. What the Giants are efficient as, especially as a coaching staff and how their game plans are. We have these 3 plays and 3 designs we like, spam them. That is a weakness that you can't defend. And for what the Giants against the Vikings, it was having Saquon Barkley cross release, which is, you release through one gap, but you burst across the field towards the other gap. He caught one where Jordan Hicks can tell that they're fucked. He just goes, oh no. And Barkley's crossing his face. And then you can see Kendricks is looking the other way. And then it goes for a big gain. They went back to the same play later against a blitz, went for another big gain. But there's one, I just want to talk about this one real quick. There's a couple of fun plays the Giants did, but this one was really cool. They had Saquon run a flat route a couple of times. The Vikings like to be in too high, cover 6 and stuff. And you can get those flat routes and bubbles because of the overhang. And usually it's Eric Kendricks, and you just outrace him to the flat. That's just the theory of those types of plays when you see someone just catching a quick flat route. But what the Giants did on one was they got into empty. They had Barkley in a chip position, like we've talked about with the Rams, that he's about to chip. And then they just had him run to the flat. They threw it. And Eric Kendricks, who's such a smart player, he sees Saquon Barkley in an empty chip and he goes, oh, he's chipping. So when at the snap of the ball, he drops and gets depth. And he's supposed to have Barkley. And Barkley just catches it, gets an easy first down, I think it was. But little tweaks, just the I know what you know, what I know what you know kind of plays. And that's what the Giants do. They just do it over and over. And that's why they stay in all these games and win these games.
He did a lot of damage as a receiver, but that first touchdown that he had, the first drive where he scored that touchdown, I think it was their second score of the day to make it. It was 14-7, but the pin pull touchdown that he had, we're showing it right now. They did this a lot today where they would line up in pony personnel with Breida on the field, and they would use Breida as the jet motion guy.
Yeah.
to kind of just give a little bit of eye candy coming back the other way. And on this play, they pitched the ball to Saquon. It's a pin pull where they get both Andrew Thomas and John Feliciano in on the move. And Isaiah Hodgins just does a great job of pinning down the end man of the line of scrimmage. He did this multiple times today. Multiple times today, they asked him to one-on-one pin down the end man of the line of scrimmage as a receiver, and he was able to do it. And that's before you even consider the work he did as a pass catcher in this game. He had 8 catches for 105 yards and a touchdown. Yeah. This is a dude that they signed off waivers in November. He wasn't on a team. He wasn't on a team the day after Halloween, and he was the best player in their passing game today. And what's really cool is you watch him; they're drawing up stuff for him. Yes. He is the centerpiece of their passing game, and he's a guy they got on waivers on November 1st. It's crazy.
They're running choice routes for him in the slot, like that.
He's 6'5".
Yeah, and they're running choice routes. Like they ran that snag weak side choice route like 3 or 4 times with him. And the fact choice routes, whenever you hear me talk about them, coaches design them to get them the ball. Like choice is one of those concepts. Like yes, there's 4 other routes on it, but really one route's kind of highlighted, starred, circled. Like this ball is going here. Like maybe 1 out of 10 times it goes to like a crosser, but the fact that they're highlighting him on those in the slot on like 3rd downs, he got a 3rd down on one of them, or first down on a 3rd down on one of those. That matters. Like they like him, and I like the touchdown with Barkley. That's such a great one with Andrew. The difference between athleticism between John Feliciano and Andrew Thomas pulling.
And John Feliciano's trying his best, man.
He's tried. Hey, he had some good fist bumps. Hey, I love John. That's what cracked me up. But I was like, I watched those 2, and I was like, one of these guys was a top 5 pick. One was a middle round pick. And I had to convert to center, even though he was a tackle in college. So, but even another great design was the Bellinger TD. Took advantage of the eyes of the Vikings again. The Bellinger TD, like the little off the play action, like, man, just some really good design stuff that just took advantage. I mean, and the fact that Daniel Jones only had 4 passes that went over 15 air yards today.
Yeah,
3 of them went for first downs. It was just if you look at his heat chart, his target chart, it looks like a table at 5 yards, just all straight across, couple screens and like a couple candles, and that's the 4 deep throws. But no, it was a great day by him and great designs, and this is what they've done all year.
My favorite play was the Hodgins touchdown, and it was really simple. They were an empty from about the 13-yard line. Andrew Thomas may or may not have gotten away with a little bit of a false start, but it's not what matters here. So Richie James is the number 1 receiver on this play. He's the furthest outside to the left. He motions into a stack with Hodgins, and he comes just inside of him. And by doing that, he plays. The Giants play with the number count that the Vikings are defending on that play. So now, with Richie James being the number 2 receiver, Patrick Peterson has to take Isaiah Hodgins as the number 1, but he's out leveraged because Hodgins is in a tighter split. So they have it immediately. And as soon as Harrison Smith walked over there and started talking to Patrick Peterson and they switched, it was like, all right, we got him now. And it's just a really small, simple thing, but they do this consistently where it's just like a tiny little detail within a play and they make it easy. And Daniel Jones rips a great throw for a touchdown. Yep. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, man, that's just good. Like it's just super simple, but that's just good. And you saw that consistently from this team today. So the overall plan today from the Giants clearly was you are not going to beat us over the top. Yep. They played split safety coverages on 65% of their plays, according to Next Gen Stats. That's their highest mark of the season. Okay. Yeah. They averaged like 64% against the Vikings in their 2 games. That would have ranked as the highest rate in the NFL over the course of the entire year. In all of their other games, the Giants ranked 30th. It was like 24%. So they went totally out of character, and I was a little bit worried about that. We talked about it on Thursday. And they allowed a lot of completions in this game, but they allowed almost nothing down the field. So the Vikings had 3 completions in this game over 20 yards. One of them was a play you pointed out on Twitter. Tony Jefferson missed a communication on 3rd and 9 and let TJ Hawkinson leak out. So just a blown assignment. Okay, that's 1. 2 is the wheel you just talked about to Adam Thielen, where I can't remember if it was
they flashed the fake towards like towards the slot. So put
Was
the
that
slot in the
did
bind.
Jefferson fake a screen on that play, or did he run it?
No,
He
that
ran
was
it
the
to
fourth down. I ran the fake
Okay.
screen. They just did like a switch vertical kind of thing. Yeah, like
That's right. So it was
wheel
just switch
post or
vertical, but
something. Yeah.
they put it was Jared Davis. It was just like a real route. They put Jared Davis in space. But the point is, it's a schemed up play, right? Like
Yes.
you're scheming up that play as a shot.
Play.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's the second one. The third one, also a schemed up designer play. It was the stick nod to TJ Hawkinson.
Yes.
So
another quarters beater. Yes.
the three 20-yard plus completions they had in this game, two of them were designed plays within quarters coverage. One of them was a missed assignment. That's it. Other than that, it was all stuff underneath the entire game. Cousins averaged 4.71 yards per completion in this game, air yards per completion. And that's the plan worked. Even if they completed 31 to 39 throws, and even if they consistently moved the ball, their plan of you are not going to beat us with chunks in this game, that ultimately did play out.
Yep. And I mean, another way they did it was they had 7 DBs on the field for 20 dropbacks on the game.
Crazy. A couple guys I wanted to point out on the Giants that came up with huge plays in this game.
I know one.
Well, I mean, Dexter Lawrence, that final 4th and 8, if Dexter Lawrence doesn't get pressure on that play, then I mean, there's a chance that Cousins completes that. It was a ball don't lie thing for earlier for getting that pass interference or for getting that personal foul.
4 QB hits
but
today.
He had 8 pressures. I mean, he is such a difference maker on that side, and you saw that consistently. That last drive, I think he had 3 or 4 pressures when the game was on the line. 345-pound defensive tackle, 70 plays into a game is making a difference in those
lining
moments.
up at nose.
Awesome. Yes,
lining up at nose, and when he gets double teamed on every pass set because they slide to him. Like, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous what he's doing.
Darnay Holmes had 2 huge TFLs on completions to Dalvin Cook in the second half, where he just stuck him in the open field for like 3 or 4 yard losses to help torpedo drives. 2 of them. Cordell Flott did not play the whole game, and then comes in for his first play of the game, I believe, was on a 3rd and 8 on the final drive of the game, and he had a PBU on KJ Osborne, and then the next play was that 4th and 8. So a guy comes in cold and breaks up a pass at one of the biggest moments of the game. Adoree Jackson was back today. He shadowed Justin Jefferson. I think that was really big. Their defense was as healthy as it's been, but you still had these little we're rebuilding moments where Isaiah Hodgins is your best receiver, and Jared Davis, who didn't start the entire season, was one of their starting linebackers. The entire tapestry of what this was the 2022 Giants.
Yeah, exactly. Like anytime there's 3 linebackers on the field or they're in base defense on the field, it was like, oh God. Like I think I want to say they like the Vikings just shredded it in the passing game every time they passed against it. But same thing was the KJ Osborne touchdown. The play that I know
the Moses mesh.
Yeah, that's the part of like the Red Sea. But you see that, and you see the linebackers. It was pretty awesome because the Giants DBs are so focused on Jefferson. He's running it over, so both safeties and the corner are looking at Jefferson. And so when you have the mesh with the 2 crossers, all the linebackers just get swallowed up. There's KJ Osborne just sitting right in the middle. It was pretty hilarious. It was just like, the Ohio dot the I kind of thing, where he's just by himself. So, but no, that's like, again, it's like, it's not always perfect, even if they had so many fastballs throughout the day, but then they just have dudes like Dexter Lawrence that step up. So it's an interesting team, but always entertaining team.